So we're going to look at the accelerator pump today, and that's it right there. So on the side of the carburetor here it says Holley Dominator, but in fact I bought this unit as a quick fuel carburetor. So what happens, so let's say you're sitting there at the drag strip there or at the stoplight, and suddenly you decide to stab the throttle, and the throttle blades open up and introduce a whole pile of air into the engine, and for just a fraction of a second there isn't enough fuel to go along with that extra air, and that causes that hesitation. So that's the job of the accelerator pump here. So you can see when I open the throttle, you can see how it shoots fuel. I don't want to do this too much, I'm going to actually flood the engine. But we're going to look at how to set that up properly so that you can solve that very common Holley carburetor hesitation. So down on the bottom here you can see a little square housing, and inside there is a diaphragm. Well, that's the part that pushes the fuel up into the top of the carburetor like I showed you earlier, and it's driven off of this arm here, and this arm is driven by more linkage which goes to the throttle shaft itself. So where the problem comes from is often there's play right in here, which means that the throttle shaft has to move a ways before the diaphragm can move. So I can see I've already got some play in mine, and some of them are actually quite bad. This one is actually almost usable, but I still don't want any play in there at all. So what I'm going to do is, there's a bolt right here with a lock nut here, and if I loosen off the lock nut here, it stretches out the bolt because the spring pulls it longer, and then it's going to take out the slack here. So I'm going to just get some wrenches here and make that happen. Okay, so I know it doesn't need much. I'm just going to give it a little adjustment here on the top. Okay, and then I'll check it again. No, I could do some more yet. So like I say, I'm just trying to take the slack out of it and no more. Okay, so all the slack is gone now. Now what I should do is check that when the throttle is wide open, that there's still play at the bottom, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, I put a rag up on top of the carburetor here where the fuel shoots out of the squirters, and I'm trying to catch as much fuel as I can without, because I got to open the throttle now, I don't want to flood the engine. So anyways, here we go, wide open. So I'm wide open now, and now I'm going to take a feeler gauge. I got 15 thou here, and I should be able to get it in here and see that the arm is being pushed down as I get that feeler gauge in there. And looks like that's what's happening. Can you see that this arm here moves? So that means I haven't bottomed it out, and also when it's at the top there's no slack in it. So that accelerator pump is set up properly. So sometimes you hear of guys talk about double pumper carburetors, and it sounds like all awesome and stuff, extra cool and all that stuff, but really all it is it just means that the carburetor has two accelerator pumps, one in the front and one in the back. So then that means the back one needs to be set up just like I set up the front one.